They told us Chorus 12 was a dead planet. No weather, no atmosphere, no life. Just dust, metal-rich soil, and a core like a frozen heart. An easy drop, they said. Mineral survey, low risk. A 4-day rotation, then back to orbit. They were wrong. We didn't see the sky split. Didn't know the sun had changed. A coronal burst, violent and sudden, flared behind the system's outermost moon. It struck our dropship mid-descent. The ISV Omen spear died before we ever hit ground. Only I lived through the impact. Wreckage Silas Wren crawled out of the fuselage on broken hands, ribs grinding with each breath. He was bleeding from a dozen places, metal shards, ruptured tissue, suit torn and bubbling at the seams. But he was alive. The others weren't. He found fragments of them strewn in the scorched rock near the impact crater, half of Engineer Diel caught in a melted bulkhead. Pilot Thorne's helmet embedded in solidified slag. He buried what he could under volcanic glass and boulders. Then he started walking. His oxygen alarm chirped after 8 hours. He silenced it with a punch. Silas spent the first 6 days scavenging the wreck. He worked in silence, rationing breath, avoiding reflection. The spear was torn across a half-kilometer of dry ash plain. Most compartments were slagged or irradiated, but a few yielded tools. A half-charged cutting torch, 4 protein rations, a cracked enviro scanner, and a foldable solar rig with a damaged panel. He also recovered the mission log core, his last connection to Earth. It was partially corrupted, but some of the black box footage remained. Thorne screaming in flames, Dal trying to jettison the cargo bay. He didn't watch it twice. On day 8, the winds began. The sky turned copper and static buzzed in his bones. At first, he thought it was the aftershock of concussion. Then he saw footprints. Not his, not human. Clawed, four-toed, deep. He wasn't alone. The things that made them were fast, low to the ground. They never attacked in the open. Just circled, tested, sniffed the air, left remains, bones of something long dead or possibly half alive. Silas rigged motion sensors from what he could salvage, wiring them to an old proximity alarm unit. At night, the alarm screamed, and something screamed back. They finally came on day 11. Silas had fashioned a crude spear from carbon plating and reinforced pipe. It wasn't enough. The creature, 2 meters long, armored hide, triple-jointed legs, barbed tail, barreled through his perimeter at twilight. He fought it in a panic. The first stab cracked its outer shell. The second lodged in its neck. It bled black ichor and screamed through vertical jaws. He killed it, but not before it bit his thigh open. He spent the next 2 days delirious, feverish in a shelter made from hull plating and packed ash, praying the wound wouldn't go septic. He survived, just barely. He found the beacon fragment in a canyon of black basalt, half buried in sand. Its casing was cracked, but its transponder was intact. A chance. A way home. He spent the next week scavenging power converters, antenna wire, and circuit mounts from the wreck and surrounding terrain. He mounted the beacon to the highest cliff he could climb. Then he waited. And while he waited, he heard them speaking. Not the beasts. Something older. Something below. I found a second creature 2 days later. Dead. Split down the center. Eaten from the inside. Its innards had hardened into crystal. Its mouth was frozen mid-screech. There were others nearby. Eggs. Dozens. Hardened shells. Some broken. Something was killing them. Something older. The nutrition packs were gone. I tried boiling native fungi from a cave ridge. Tasted like iron and ash. Vomited for 2 hours. lost fluid, delirious, hallucinated Zenova standing over me, whispering in a language I didn't know, woke up screaming. Pulled myself out of the shelter and drank condensed moisture from a cooling pipe. Screamed again when my cracked ribs shifted. I went back to the canyon. The doors were open wider, not mechanically, like something had moved them. Inside I found light, not artificial. Bioluminescence, blue veins running along the walls like capillaries, humming. I stepped inside. The air was warm, thicker, breathable. I didn't know it then, but I had just entered the vault. The vault's threshold closed behind me with a soundless hiss, not mechanical, biological. The stone around the entrance flexed as though breathing, not flesh, mineral that moved like skin, reacting to my presence. I stood in a corridor of blue-lit walls that pulsed in sync with the throb I felt in my chest. It was warm here, damp. For the first time in 10 days, I removed my helmet. The air tasted like copper and moss. I shouldn't have been able to breathe. And yet, I did. The deeper I went, the more the walls changed. The crystalline veins grew denser. I touched one, felt movement inside, like fluid or light shifting under skin. I passed an arch etched with spirals and hand-sized depressions that hummed as I neared. I kept walking. Then the voices started. At first, I thought it was calm feedback. Then I realized it wasn't in my ears. It was in my mind. Ren, come deeper. Memory holds the seal. You bleed the key. I backed against the wall, closed my eyes, counted. I was not hallucinating. Not entirely. The hallway opened into a massive chamber, hundreds of meters across. Pillars lined the edges. Inside each, a shape, humanoid, curled in fetal position, suspended in a kind of fluid or crystal, not machines, not corpses either, preserved, stored. Their faces were wrong, not alien, not human, something between. One turned its head as I passed. I ran. I hadn't eaten in 2 days. Inside the vault, I found moss, veined and blue, growing across the floor. I touched it. It pulsed faintly. Against all judgment, I tore off a piece and tasted it. Bitter, then warm, then images, visions, not memories, injections. I saw cities of light under oceans, creatures that swam through fire, a moon being cracked open like an egg. I convulsed and vomited on the floor. But I felt stronger afterward. The scar on my arm where the acid had hit me had changed, no longer raw or infected. It had grown veins, not mine, blue and luminous. They moved when I got near the walls. I pressed it to one of the conduits. The vault responded. A light flared. Doors opened. I wasn't just inside it. It was inside me. At the vault's core, I found the impossible, a chamber that opened into a sky. Above, a sun, miniature, suspended in a lattice of orbiting rings and plasma. Not hot, but bright, like looking into memory. Beneath it, a platform with 6 raised spires, each shaped like a claw. In the center, a sarcophagus of stone and metal fused with cables. Something inside it stirred. Not dead, not alive. Waiting. I tried to leave. The corridors changed behind me, no longer linear. I moved forward and ended up back at the core. The vault didn't trap me. It was testing me. On the 3rd attempt, the sarcophagus opened. Not with mechanics, but with light. Inside lay me, or something that looked like me. Its skin was gray, veined in blue. Its eyes were open, but unfocused. And when I approached, it screamed. I woke up outside the vault, covered in ash, days gone. The shelter was half destroyed. Something had clawed through it while I was gone, and around it, dozens of tracks, all leading away from the wreck, from me. I staggered to my feet. My veins glowed faintly in the dusk. The creatures no longer hunted me. They were waiting, I don't sleep anymore. The sun never moves, and time doesn't pass right. I live on vault moss and water condensed from rock. My body has changed. Stronger, colder. The wound is gone, but something pulses beneath the skin. Sometimes I hear the vault calling me back. Other times I hear the thing in the sarcophagus. I don't know which one is me anymore, but I know this. The vault was never a prison. It was a womb, and I think I've been reborn.